You guys know I love podcasting and listening to podcasts, and I'm guessing if you're listening to this that you love podcasts too. Have you ever considered podcasting yourself? It is a great way to reach your audience, grow your know, like and trust factor, and not need to show your face unless you want to. If it is something you've thought about but you don't know where to start, then head over to becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz, BAP quiz, to access a 2-minute quiz that will help you work out what type of podcast might suit you. That's becomeapodcaster.uk/BAP quiz. You're listening to the Mindset and Action podcast, bringing you the map to grow and streamline your business in 2023. I'm your host, Donna Eade, your go-to gal for all things podcasting, planning and productivity. And I'll be bringing you all that plus mindset goodness from experts with knowledge to share. Let's make 2023 the year of success in your business. Systems run the business and people run the systems. Michael E. Gerber. Welcome to today's episode where we're going to be talking to Tammy Johnston. She is the Hold Your Hand Kick-Ass Business Coach. She helps new business owners by teaching them the basic foundational skills that they need to survive and then thrive. This is a fantastic conversation with Tammy. Tune in. It does not matter if you have had your business for 12 months or 12 years. You will gain something from this episode. Let's jump in. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I am so excited to have you here today because I have another fantastic guest with me. Tammy, welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me, Donna.
I love it when I get to talk to people from across the pond, whether it is north or south of across the pond. I absolutely love it because I love a good accent. So this is going to be a fantastic conversation for me. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it. I already know that. Tammy, introduce yourself. Let my listeners know a little bit about who you are, what it is that you do, and how you got to where you are.
So I am the Hold Your Hand and Kick Your Ass business coach.
Lovely.
I've been working with small businesses for over 2 decades now. Damn, I'm getting old. And actually, I have a background in financial services. I've been a financial advisor for over 30 years now. And I specialize in working with new business owners, like as early in the journey as I can get them. Idea stage up to 2 years is where I like to work. My favorite are what I call the praying for the pink slip crowd, the ones that are in a job, they're not happy, they want to go do their own thing, and they're just hoping and praying that they can get that package so they can get bought out so that they can finally go and start their business. And I love getting them at that stage because I can help save them so much time, money, and grief, because I am on a mission to drastically improve the success rate of new businesses. Like, when a small business fails, everybody loses, and they don't need to, because most are failing, not because they're not working hard enough, not because there's a problem with their product or service. It's because they don't know what they're doing on the business side. And it doesn't matter if it's product business, service business, any of this stuff. The basics of business are the same. And that's where I work on teaching them, and then you can build on it.
I love that so much. And I'll tell you for why. That is kind of where this podcast came from. I was on a mission to help wedding vendors to get their business systems up and running and working for them, because they're creatives. They want to be out there taking the photos, arranging the bouquets. They don't want to be in the systems and the nitty gritty of the business stuff. And when all of that goes out the window, they get burnt out really quickly and then give up. And it breaks my heart to see it. So that is actually where Grow and Streamline Your Business with me came from. Obviously, the podcast has changed over the years because we're no longer working with business, with wedding vendors specifically. But I still have a lot of wedding vendor listeners listening in to this show, which, you know, just warms my heart. They are my people. But yeah, that's where it all started. So the fact that that is what you are on a mission to do really, really speaks to me. And I think it's so difficult as well, because I think everybody needs a you when they're starting a business, for sure. But the fact is that people don't know that you exist and that they need you because they're brand new to the industry, they're brand new to entrepreneurship, and they don't know where to turn. So it's kind of, I know a lot of my listeners aren't going to be starting their business, and we will come to that in a little bit. But what I want you guys to do is, as you listen to this, because it is going to be applicable to you too, because I bet you didn't have a kick-ass business coach when you started, so the likelihood is that some of your systems may need a bit of addressing. So we will talk about that, but I want you to think about the people in your circles, the people who you talk to on a daily basis that are still in day jobs that go, God, I wish I could do what you want to do, or wish I could do what you do, sorry. I wish I could do X. I'd love to make a business out of Y. And the people that are talking around you, because these are the people that Tammy needs to get in front of. So if you've got people like that in your life, then just keep them in mind, listen to their conversations. When they seem like they're getting to the point where they might actually be serious about this stuff, talk about people like Tammy herself, that can help them to get started the right way so they've got more chance of success. Do them the favor that nobody did for you, because that's the truth of it. I'd love it if somebody had said, here's the person that you actually need to go to first before you buy all those courses, before you go spending thousands and thousands of dollars on how to market your business or how to do this in your business or how to do that. How about we start at the ground roots of actually getting your business set up right in the first place? So I love that. And I am excited to jump into this conversation with you, Tammy. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So what I wanted to know first is, we're talking, and I've said it in that little bit there, that systems is like one of the big important things in our business. And I would love for you to just go over why you see systems as being like a really important. What is it about systems? What can they do for us? Why should we even care?
No systems, no business. You have a job that owns you. So how I teach things, there's 4 main routes for every single business, and they are marketing, advisory team, financial, and systems. If you are missing or weak on any of those, you're going to have a very lopsided tree, and it's probably going to blow over the first time you have like a slight breeze. You build them properly, you can withstand a hurricane. But there's so many, and like when I started my business coaching was like a very rare thing. Like there were a few programs and that, but it was mostly you go and you figure it out on your own. And most people couldn't survive the figuring it out part. And now with social media and everything, you see there's business coaches and all this stuff everywhere. And there are some great ones out there. But there's a couple of things that I found that drive me nuts. Number one, everybody's supposed to specialize. Well, I'm a Instagram ad coach, or I'm a Facebook ad coach, or I will help you work on just your mindset. And while these things are all very, very good, it's like I'm learning how to decorate my living room when I have one wall, haven't got a clue on how to put up shingles, there is no plumbing, and the electrical's on fire. You need to have the basic foundational pieces. And they're so bloody expensive because it's a charge what you're worth. Not saying that the coach isn't worth it and they're not providing good stuff, but there's so many, like, it breaks my heart when I've taken on clients that, okay, they've already spent $15,000 on different courses and they don't know, like, yeah, they know how to run a Facebook ad campaign and that, and they don't know how to deal with anything. And it worked one time, but they can't repeat it. And everything is, they're stressed to the gills because they have no foundations. They have no foundations.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think it is heartbreaking, because I think any entrepreneur in business wants to see other entrepreneurs succeed. It's like it's a club and we understand each other. Like you go to talk to people that do day jobs and they just don't get it. They don't understand where you're coming from.
They look at you like you're speaking Klingon.
Yeah, exactly. So true. And so, we want other people to succeed, because then we've got more business besties to talk to and to thrash things out with and to understand where we're coming from, because entrepreneurship can be a really lonely place to be. And especially in the beginning when you haven't got a clue what you're bloody doing.
Yeah. And you're terrified and you're doing your best and you're working harder than you ever have in your life, and sleep is a distant memory, because even if you can fall asleep, then the brain wakes up in the middle of the night and you're just going and all of this stuff. Been there, done that. And one of the many reasons why I do my business the way it is, because I started my business unexpectedly. I'd had people pushing me to do it for years, but I had all the one of my great clients calls hers the itty bitty shitty committee going on in her head. Well, I had mine going, well, I'm too young, like all of this stuff. And I was raised to with the same bullshit most people were. You go to school, you work hard, you get a great job, you stay there forever, you get the pension, you retire there. Like, no, that doesn't exist for my generation, let alone anybody afterwards. And I did not like being employed. And I got called, and I was working at a job that I absolutely freaking hated. It was like all I could do to drag myself in every day and not throw my idiot boss through a plate glass window. And I got called into his office and he fired me.
Oh my goodness.
And it was actually the best thing ever, because I was already interviewing for other jobs. Like one more week, I would have been somewhere else. And he was expecting me to be all upset and stuff like this. And I just instantly felt this gigantic weight being lifted off of my shoulders. And I'm going through my head, I never have to work for another creepy, incompetent old man again. I'm finally going to do it. And I decided in that moment to start my own business. And I just got this great big grin, like it totally disarmed him because he wasn't expecting this. Just started grinning. And I got paid out my last little bit. And I was going, okay, this is wonderful. And now I have to go home and tell my husband, who is very much a wonderful employee type. And I went from like the nice, stable, secure paycheck where you get paid every second Friday and all of this stuff to you eat what you kill. And I hadn't prepared anything before, but I still went in a better position than most, because I've been studying money, business, and success since I was 7 years old. Part of my job was to train other agents on marketing and all of this stuff. So I went in better than most, but there was still like my learning curve was like straight up from going from an employee to how do I do all of this stuff running my own business. And then to complicate it more, I got pregnant.
Oh, blimey. Yeah, that'll complicate things.
Yep, got pregnant, was just starting to get a little bit of traction. I took 30 hours of mat leave.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
that is hardcore.
Hours, because, well, why didn't you take mat leave? Because I'm going, I would have lost all the momentum that I was starting to build up, like all of that. Plus, when you're self-employed here, you don't get mat benefits, only as an employee. And one of the reasons why, like I said, when I had that epiphany when I was being fired, is because my husband and I were talking about starting our family. And I'm going, I don't want to have to get my daughter up at 5 o'clock in the morning so I can have her for daycare for 6:30. So I can go to a job that I absolutely freaking hate, working with people that drive me insane, and then miss all of that, pick her up from daycare, get her home, maybe see her conscious for half an hour before she has to go. I don't want that life. Yeah. If I start my own business, I can figure out how to do that. And that is exactly, like, it was stressful. It was challenging, but I was able to be pizza mom and go on the field trips and do all of that stuff and run my business. And now my daughter literally on 2 days ago started her second year of university. So we've been through it.
Yeah. How old is she?
She's 20 now.
Oh, see, mine's 22. So I completely, like, I was following that story going, yep, been there. So yeah, absolutely. Can completely empathize and sympathize with that. And I'm sure a lot of my listeners can as well, because a lot of the times people will start their businesses because of their family. And it's because they want to be more present and more at home. And I think one of the things that stops that when we start a business is the not knowing what we should be doing, because we're spending all of this extra time trying to work out how to make it work. It's not even doing the work. It's not even doing the client work. It's not calling the clients, working with the clients, sending invoices. It's like, how do I do business? Yep. So the next thing that I would like us to talk about is, what are the 3 systems? Like, I'm going to pin you down to just 3 that you think. I know. Basically, they actually need to have an appointment with you and start working with you. But if there are people out there and they talk to their friends and their friends are just like, oh no, I'm not in a position, I don't want to do that. What are the 3 systems that people can say, like, these are the 3 systems that you need to put in place that are going to be beneficial before? Because I think sometimes, you can set systems up at all different times in your business, but sometimes some of them are so much harder once you've already started. And if you'd just set it up beforehand, it would have been so much easier to continue.
Well, all systems are best the earlier you can do it. And I always go that systems are a living thing. Like, I've been running my business for well over 2 decades now, and I'm still systematizing, because I don't know if you've noticed, the business world and all this stuff has changed a little bit in 2 decades, and it's never going to stop changing. So systems are a living thing. It's kind of like your website. You don't build your website, because I did my first website in 2003. I've been through 7 with the one business. And then in 2019, I split my business into 2. So I have the financial planning business that I still run and maintain, and then KSA, where I'm building and growing and all of that stuff. And with KSA, I've already been through 2 websites, like major changes. So systems are a living thing. They're always going to evolve. But for especially to start out, like, if I could go back and talk to me 1 year before I was fired and started my business, this is what I do. So the big thing is, how are you going to run your time? Like, what is your system for your daily and weekly schedule? Because you are in charge of everything. Nothing happens unless you do it. So what are you going to be doing in order to make sure that you are working on your business and on the right things? Because one of the biggest mistakes that most, especially new business owners, start out with is they're technicians. They're technically good at their product or service, like wedding photography. They know all about photography and they take beautiful pictures, but they don't know about how do they market their photography? How do they price? How do they do their invoicing? How do they look after their financials? Who do they take their business advice from? What are the activities that they need to be doing? So they're actually doing stuff that's going to move the business forward, look after the client, and not get sucked into pointless freaking rabbit holes. So that is the first one. And it's going to change depending on what stage of life you are in, what stage of your business. Like, how I had to plan out my day when my daughter was 6 months and under, and then 6 months to like 2 years, and then 2 years to like till she started kindergarten, and then kindergarten and school. It's all changed. It's all evolved. Like, one of the things, so I started in a business coaching program when my daughter was, like, I think 4 months old or whatever. And it was a wonderful program. I was in it for years, still connected to a lot of the people I met there are still clients. They're wonderful. But one of the things that drove me nuts is they talk about having productive days. You have like the full 8 hours or 10 or 12 or whatever, and you focus on the money-making activities of your business. And I'm going, I'm breastfeeding. Like, that's not happening. I don't have 8 hours. I have 90 to 120 minutes tops. And if the baby doesn't go off, the boobs are. So how do we do this? So I had to learn, okay, and when we're nap stations, and my daughter nursed more at night than she did during the day. So I was up 5 times a night for feeding. So I'm going, I have to be able to fit in, okay, naps and stuff here. So I had to learn, okay, very, very focused in little chunks. 8 hours didn't exist. 8 hours can exist now because my daughter can get herself to school and all this stuff. But for years, I didn't have those options. I had to work it around. So how are you working your schedule on the daily and weekly basis? The next thing, which is kind of an addition for that, is I'm a really, really big fan, and I harp on this all the time, and it's this wonderful thing called a paper calendar. I'm all for like the Google Calendar, iCalendar, whatever you want to call it, for actually scheduling things, but planning stuff out. I always say you can go on to Google, pull up your calendars, print them off as a full sheet, is spread it out like on your kitchen counter or a table or your desk, and so that you can see the whole year and you can start writing in things. So like, okay, wedding. Okay, well, wedding season is, you guys are like crazy busy. June, July, August, and stuff like that. But okay, if you're going to be doing like here in Canada, like we have the big bridal fairs and stuff like that. Okay, we'll put those in there. If you're getting booked and stuff, so then you can, if you've already, because a lot of people, I've been married for a long time, but we booked our photographer like 6 months in advance. Well, so when you've got those, so if you're going, okay, well, I would like to get more wedding business in February when it's not so much cake. What do I need to be doing for marketing? Okay, if I'm going to be doing these things, how am I going to be following up? And then here's the other thing. So if you're a wedding photographer, that's wonderful. You want to get some more business and stuff. Are you promoting yourself for engagement photos? Are you promoting yourself for anniversary photos? Are you marketing for that? Okay, well, John and Joanne got married July last year. Well, what am I doing to make sure that I'm connecting with them and letting them know? And I remember when I got married, there was a whole group of us that basically all got married within a couple of years. Well, what are you doing to stay in front of them so that John and Joanne are telling Mark and Lucy and them about you? So what are your systems so that you're planning out so that you're not missing opportunities? You're not getting opportunities too late. So for example, if you're in retail, if you're Costco, like Christmas stuff is out in July, it's just freaking wrong. But if you're not talking about, well, getting your photos for your wedding until 2 weeks before most people are getting married, you've completely missed it. And putting it on, and like I said, spread it out so that you can see the whole year and go, okay, well, what do I want to be doing? Or, okay, I just started or I missed my opportunity for this year. Okay, so if I want to be ahead of it for next year, when do I need to be putting this marketing stuff out? When do I need to be doing these things?
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are simple things that people go, duh, how did I not think that? Because you're so busy doing what you're doing that your brain
being the
can't
technician.
focus. Yeah, you're being the technician and you have no idea what you don't know, which is why, like I said, we lay it out. So I always have we go through, and I do this myself. I'm showing you my calendar going, where do I have my stuff? If I'm doing a newsletter, okay, where is it? And so that I'm also not overloading. And when my daughter was young and in school, one of the first things I did, I'd get her school schedule. Okay, where are the PD days? Where's all the stuff? Because that's going to adjust my life.
Yes. Yeah, that's really important. And actually, one of my friends is very much like that. She works around her children. She's got 3 of them and she loves the summer holidays. I mean, most parents, don't know about in Canada, but most parents here in the UK at the end of our 6-week holiday, we're like, get those kids back to school. She's like, oh, can't I have another couple of weeks? She's crazy. I love her to bits. But she does the same thing. She knows that when it's the holidays, she wants to spend time with her children. So she sort of almost like nearly closes down her business at the end of July and keeps it so that it's the clients that she's got. They know when they're having calls with her. They know when they can't speak to her, and she keeps it all solid and she has it planned out. And if you don't actually make a plan for it, it's not going to happen. It's just going to get very overwhelming. So I love that those two that kind of sit side by side there, knowing what you're doing on a weekly basis and a daily basis with your time so that you can make sure you're getting your work done, and then looking at the year as a whole and going, okay, so where do things fit in, and when are my time's going to change, which month's going to look different to another month that I need to actually think what I need to do in that time. So I love those two systems. Thank you very much for those.
So that's 1A and B. Okay, the next one, and I harp on this because if you do not have a database, you have no business. You have no business. And there's so many different amazing CRM systems out there. When you're first starting out, don't worry about that. Get yourself an Excel spreadsheet, or if you're a Google person, I think it's called Sheets or whatever, and start.
I'm a Sheets girl.
Whatever works. I'm old, so I'm a Microsoft girl, so I do Excel. For so many things, I have a CRM, but I would say start with just a basic spreadsheet where you're getting all your client information, and then start, okay, what is other stuff that I want to be collecting? Okay, well, was it a wedding? Was it an anniversary? What was it? Why did they contact me? How long did it take from them connecting with you, or you met them in a networking or wherever it was, to actually getting a booking to job is done and finished? What were the quirks? What were the notes? What did I talk to them about? So you do it in there for a while, and then you start to see, okay, well, what is the stuff that I want? What is the stuff that I need to keep track of? And then you can find a proper CRM that's going to work for your business. Because I've checked out so many different ones for myself and like researching for clients. And like I said, there's tons of them out there, and there's some that are affordable and some that are ridiculous expensive, and some that work well for certain types of businesses and less well for others. But if you start with, like I said, just an Excel spreadsheet or sheets or whatever, and start thinking about what information are you keeping, because with that you could always take it in and put it out and all this stuff, but you need to have it someplace where you can see it. And I just keep thinking back, a few years ago, I had an old friend who was looking at buying a business and wanted to talk to me first. And I'm so glad. So she phoned me when she was in the meeting with the guy, and I just started asking some basic questions. Like I said, where's his database? Like, where is his client? Because what she's buying is his client list and his equipment. Well, he's got it all in his head. I'm going, well, you're not buying the inside of his head, so how can you get it down? And then we find out very quickly he hasn't run his business in 2.5 years because he got sick and couldn't do it. And he's selling her old used equipment, and he'll take her around and introduce him to it. I'm going, if they still have a need in 2.5 years, I guarantee that they've gone somewhere else. You're not buying anything. You are not buying anything. He didn't like me too much. She was really happy.
Can imagine.
But I'm going, if you don't have a database, a CRM of something, you have absolutely nothing. You've just set yourself up with a job that owns you, and your success will kill you, because you can't do anything with it. You can't delegate, you can't expand, you can't do anything, because everything is stuck in your head. So set up your CRM. And like I said, simple way to start, free way to start. Just use a spreadsheet. Use a spreadsheet. And then the third one, and this is one that people really, really aren't going to like, because it is the number one thing that small business owners avoid, ignore, and once they start to get going, it's typically the first thing that they abdicate. I won't say delegate, because delegate means they're still paying attention. They abdicate. They throw it away like a poopy diaper. And it's the biggest mistake that they can make. So I always want my clients for the first 6 months to a year to do all their own bookkeeping.
I love numbers. I was getting scared of what you were going to say there, because I was like, oh, I'm going to get told off. But no, I love my numbers, so that's good.
No, you are a wonderful weirdo.
I am a 1 in a million for sure.
Yeah, you're a wonderful weirdo. I want them to do their own bookkeeping for 6 months to a year, and then once they fully understand it and they know what they're looking at, so then they can pass it off. They can delegate it to a bookkeeper for the input and stuff like that. But even then, I want them spending, typically it only takes about 15 minutes a week, but focusing on their financials. And the reason when people, well, bookkeeping doesn't make me money. I want you to become familiar with your numbers, because there are so many amazing things that you can learn from getting familiar with your numbers. Like when I'm working with retail clients and stuff, I will actually have them track their cash flow hourly. Well, why? It's not just the number at the end of the day. Okay, well, if your store is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., but the cash register typically doesn't ring before 11 o'clock in the morning, and then you have a rush from like 11 to 1, and then it quiets off, and then at 2:30 you get busy, and then basically after 7 o'clock nobody comes by. Well, number one, that helps you figure out, well, when should my business be open? And if you are having it open, okay, well, what are other things that you can be doing during those dead times so that you're making use of them? And then why is the cash register ringing at this time and not at that time? If it's, okay, we've got these rushes, what can I do to be bringing people in the quiet times, to be bringing it up? Or if that's a seasonal thing, what can I be doing in order to balance out my business? Like I do classes. I don't book any classes for July and August, and I don't book classes for December. Why? There is no freaking point. Mm-hmm. I've had people where I was going, oh, we need a summer class when things are quiet. So I and I would have people all signed up, and then, oh, well, it's Friday when class is supposed to be starting. Well, my family just decided they were going to come in, or all of it. No. So don't do classes. But I'm going, okay, what other things can I be doing during those times? If it's seasonal. So perfect example, IKEA. So few years ago, we completely renovated our house, and that included doing a kitchen. And IKEA has a kitchen sale twice a year. When does IKEA have their kitchen sale?
I don't know. I've never looked at IKEA
kitchens. They have it in summer. For their kitchen sale is summer and winter. Why? Why do they have their sales then?
Because that's when most people take their holidays.
No, that's because that's when they're quiet in kitchen sales. Because I was asking them about this, and they said, okay, in spring, people want to get everything done because they want it done for summer, because they're either getting ready to sell or they've got holidays or company coming. So they automatically, they don't have to do any promotion for spring sales because it happens automatically. And fall, because people want the new kitchen put together for Christmas. So their quiet times are in the winter and in the summer. Well, okay, you said you started off with wedding people. You know when wedding season is freaking crazy. You don't have to be doing a lot of looking for summer weddings. But if you want to be getting more business from like October to the beginning of May, well, then you need to be doing things differently. You need to be marketing differently. What are you going to be doing for your time so that you're getting the most weddings or the best weddings during the season? So once again, comes back to the calendar. But these are things that you see for your numbers. Like wedding season is very, very definite. But a lot of people with their businesses, they don't understand that there typically is an ebb and flow. So what can you be doing? Starbucks will have, I haven't seen them do it in a while, but they used to have a thing where, okay, everybody's going to work, they're getting their morning caffeine fix. And then they would give you a thing on the receipt that would say, okay, well, if you come back between 2 and 4, you can get a cookie or whatever for half off or something like that. Why? Because they know they're busy in the morning. How can we get some more business coming back in the afternoon? So looking at your numbers can tell you all sorts of wonderful, beautiful, amazing things. Like with one of my retail, he had a tea shop. And when we were going through and we were doing the cash flow analysis hour by hour, well, how come 2:30 is always so busy on Monday, Wednesday, Friday for you? So we started looking, and what we found out was there was a parking garage, and then about 2 blocks, it was a 2-block window. So there was parking garage, his tea shop, and then there was the office building where they had massage therapist training. And so what we found out was people were coming, they would leave the parking garage, okay, I'm going to class, stop at his tea shop, grab their tea to go to class. Well, okay, well, now that we know that, because why is it so busy at this time? Well, then he went and made a special offer to the massage training school. And then he started to get more business. But if you don't look at your numbers, you don't see the stories that they're telling you. Most people, it's like, no, I don't want to look at my numbers unless business is just so insanely good that I've got millions of dollars in the bank. It is the first thing that they avoid. I'm going, you are missing so much. And it's not complicated. If you can count, add, subtract, multiply, and divide, you've got it. That's all you need to do.
Yeah. I completely agree. One of the things that like really bothers me is how willing people are to just ignore something, like abdicate, like what you're saying. It's not delegating. It's just get it off my plate. I don't want it. And I have spoken before to my listeners about how I think that whatever you do in your business, you should do it first. So even if you don't know how to do it, learn and do it yourself first before you send it off for somebody else, because you need to know that what they're doing is right. And when it comes to money, this is like, you came at it from a completely different angle to the one that I come from, which is so fascinating, because it's so true. Being able to see where your numbers are and what they're doing is just, it's amazing to be able to glean that information from it. But when you are doing, when you're looking at your numbers, you have a better understanding of where you are in your business. And if you don't look at your numbers and you've given it over to somebody else to deal with, they could be doing anything with your money and you have no idea what's going on. And that is bad.
Yeah, well, that's happened with a few times, but even a lot of them, they're doing it. And most of our accountants and bookkeepers are massive introverts that are filled with all sorts of information. And they're not going to volunteer it because they're typically, through experience, have been ignored or shut down or whatever. Just tell me where I have to sign the damn tax return and stuff like that. But if you actually ask them and you can have a conversation, they are a wealth of information that can help you. And it helps you plan out, like you said, seeing things, because they're looking at it from a different standpoint and going, well, okay, you've worked with many different wedding planners. What are you seeing that's different in mine? Is there anything that I should be aware of? Are my costs too high here, or different things that I can be doing? But if you don't have the basic understanding of your numbers, you can't have an intelligent conversation because you're missing the pieces.
Exactly. Oh, so good. So yeah, guys, don't delegate your finances to somebody until you've done at least 6 months to a year's worth of work on it, for sure. I love that. So I said that we would come back to my listeners who are already in business, and we may be doing a crossover. I don't know what you're going to say here. I would love to know, if we have already started our business, we're already in the thick of it, we're already up to our eyeballs in stuff that we just don't know what to do with, and we haven't put systems in place yet. Where are the areas that we should focus on getting up and running first? Like, what is the ASAP, I must get this system done now, it's going to make my life so much easier?
Where are you having the most pain? When I'm working with people that, like I said, are already up and running, because most are, where are you having the most pain? Like, where's your problem now? And then we work on that, because people, especially when I start going, because I'm a major systems geek, and we start going, and they get so, well, there's all these things and I don't have any of that, or I might have 1 out of 1,000, and they go, no, dear. It's a never-ending thing. It's an ongoing. We pick one thing, we do it, then we move on to the next one, because every single thing that you do, putting into a system, makes your life better. And we can't go back and change 2 seconds ago. What we can do is, what are we doing now? And I will come back to this. Make sure that you are carving time out and protecting it. This is especially important in the beginning, when we get in. Anybody who wants to talk to us anytime, we will bend over. You want to see me at 2:00 in the morning? Of course I will. And then we wonder why we're exhausted and all this stuff. We have to set up what works for us. And you need to carve out time. And you say, okay, this is my time where I'm going to be working on my business. So I'm going to be working on creating a system. You protect that time, and you make sure that you're working on that time. Because so many people, when they'll start off, will go, okay, yes, on Thursday at 2:00 until 4:00, I'm going to be working on systems. And then anybody phones, oh, can we do a meeting at 3:00? And they go, oh, yes, of course. No, because if you already had a client meeting with someone else, you'd say, I would love to, but I'm not available that time because I already have a meeting, and you would schedule for another time. But people won't do that for their time. And then they're wondering why nothing gets done.
So true.
They wonder why nothing gets done. Like you said, your friend that you love and adore, she shuts down. I have had my clients trained for years. Don't talk to Tammy on Mondays. Also, don't expect Tammy to be a morning person, because she's not.
Ditto.
I'm going, you want to talk to me at 7:00 in the morning? Is something on fire? But it's not uncommon for me, because the way my life has worked between my schedule and my husband's schedule and stuff like that, it's not uncommon for me to be at my desk working at 10:00 at night.
Mm.
So don't talk to me at 6 o'clock in the morning. Not going to happen. But then there are sick, twisted morning people. Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. Find out, like I said, what your schedule is and what works for you. And get people trained on that. Like I will have clients going, they'll send me a text or something or an email going, we know it's Monday, so we know, like, we're not expecting anything, but just making sure. That's fine. That's fine. And people respect because you have set your boundaries.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. What is causing you the biggest pain? So good. I love that so much. Okay. So, guys, we have had it. We've had the 3 systems that you need to put in place if you are beginning your business. And if you are somebody who knows somebody who is looking to start a business, please share this episode with them so they get to hear it straight from Tammy's mouth, because I think it's so important that we give people who are starting out the help that they need, because oftentimes they're scared to ask for it. They don't want to look stupid. It's a brand new industry to them, this entrepreneurial world. And
they don't even know what to ask.
No, they don't know what to ask. There is so much information being thrown at them out there on social media. And like you said, Tammy, the people who are specialist in certain areas are great for that specialism. If it's something that you want to go into, like, you know, you want to put all your eggs in the Instagram basket and you don't want to bother with Facebook and you're not caring about the other platforms, then going to a Instagram expert is going to be a great way to get you up and running in that area. But to start with, you need a good all-round base of getting your business up and running and functioning and systems in place and, you know, knowing what your marketing goals are and things like that. And that doesn't come from going to all of these gurus that are in these different areas. And I think it's so easy to get confused and lost. So please share this episode with anybody you know who is thinking of starting a business, because I think it's really powerful for them.
Or new in business.
Yes. Yeah. Or very new in business and is starting to see that struggle. Definitely. So it's did you say you work with people up to sort of 2 years into their business?
My specialty is idea stage up to 2 years, although I have worked with everybody from idea stage up to, I had one gentleman who's been running his business successfully now for 40 years.
Wow.
And he still comes because I have a slightly different way of looking at things. I'm very, very practical.
Well, that's it. And exactly what you said earlier is that systems change over time. So, you know, if you a system was working for you and now suddenly it's not, and you're like not sure why it's not working, Tammy's probably the extra pair of eyes that could come in and go, well, actually, did you not see that this changed 3 years ago in your business? And now that's why you've got this stuck feeling there. So that's fantastic. Tammy, you have got a self-assessment that people can take. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and where they can grab it?
So I put together I call it the entrepreneurial self-assessment, so that you can figure out, because every single business has 8 successful working pieces. And the more of the pieces you've got, the better you are. The more of the pieces you're missing or weak on, the harder things get. So and everybody comes in with different talents and abilities. So it takes just a couple minutes to go through and do, but figure, okay, where are you strong? Where are you weak? And the most important, where did you not even have a freaking clue you needed to know about this stuff? And help you, like you said, figure out, because there is no one type of entrepreneur or type of business. It's like whatever works. I've seen in 3 decades of being in the business world and stuff, and over 2 of running mine and working specifically with small business owners, I've seen it all.
Yeah.
And there's only 2 things that are guaranteed in life: death and taxes. You are going to die.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Hopefully it's a long time in the future and peacefully, but it is going to happen. And you will pay taxes. We can help you legally pay less and do it properly. But everything else, it's like, you find what works for you, because what works perfectly well for me might not fit in for you, and vice versa. And that is okay.
Love that. So definitely head over and take that self-assessment for yourself. I will make sure that it's linked in the show notes for everybody. So make sure you head over and do that. And before we wrap up today, I have a quick fire round for you, Tammy, if you're up for it.
I'm up for it.
I love doing this with my guests because especially when they live in different countries, because it does often change the answers to some of them. So let's have a look what Tammy's going to say. Tammy, what is the book that has made the biggest impact on your life so far?
Well, that's a really hard one because there have been so many absolutely amazing books. And the one I'm going to give you is not one necessarily that had the biggest impact because I'd already been reading a lot of stuff. But it is my favorite book. It is the number one book that I recommend. It's my number one book for giving away as gift. And I refer to it as the Bible for life. And it is The Success Principles by Jack Canfield.
Lovely.
And the reason why I love that book is because it's basically the Cole's notes of all of the other books that I have read, all the stuff that I have been learning in over 50 years and teaching and all of this stuff. And it gives you like the whole basic picture. And then there's ways, like you say, you want to get more deep into this part. Well, here's a book for that. And you want to get it deep in, but it gives you the whole thing. So you can go through and go, yeah, no, I got that. Ah, damn it, I have to learn that one.
I love that. That sounds like a great book. Awesome. I shall put that in the show notes for you guys as well. What's your go-to snack if you're in a hurry?
If I'm in a hurry, to be very honest, I'm a cheese person. Like
so is my other half.
Yep, I
loves his
love
cheese.
Different. Like I'll grab a piece of cheese or maybe a couple of crackers and stuff like that. But I love cheese. I wish I didn't. It would be an awful lot better for me.
If it wasn't cheese, it'd be something else.
it would be something like for some people it's chocolate or whatever. But like, no,
yep.
I like cheese. Like that is a staple in our house.
Yeah, we've actually it's been a big thing in our house as well. We were doing fondue nights just before we went into the pandemic with a couple of our friends, and we would bring our fondue pots round and we would be doing different cheeses, and everybody I stick to mine because I know that I like it, and everybody else has got black coal and smelly cheese and God knows what else. And I'm like, and then when we went into the pandemic, we did it online. So we were doing it from our own homes and still eating the cheese. So we're big cheese eaters in this house. The other two, my daughter and my partner, more so than me, but I like a good bit of cheese, but I am a chocolate girl, so I appreciate the cheese love. So finally, what is your ultimate me time thing to do? So as somebody who is all up in the systems and getting it all done, I'm thinking that you probably make sure that you do have some downtime in your calendar. So what do you do with that?
Oh yeah. So if it's just for me and fun and stuff, it's a toss up between a nice saunter. And I will say saunter because if I take my husband is very tall with long legs and he likes to take off. And I'm going, no, I am out to enjoy the view and the fresh air. It is sauntering. I'm old and chubby. We are not going at a fast clip. I go to the gym. If I'm going for it, it's a saunter. And I also I love good movies and stuff like that. Like I have my time where I'm reading. When I go to the gym, I listen to my audiobooks. I have but if it's like just a me thing, a good movie, or if it's nice out, like just a nice walk.
Love that. Yeah, I'm with you on a saunter. My daughter actually walks really fast and she's shorter than me. She walks like she's got a bullet up her bottom. But me, I just like a stroll. I just like a nice stroll. So I'm with you there. Brilliant. Okay. Thank you so much for your time today, Tammy. It's been a fantastic conversation. I really appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful chatting with you and your audience.
I hope you enjoyed that episode with Tammy, and I hope you will agree that she had some fantastic advice in there. It was such a fantastic conversation. Thank you, Tammy, so much for coming on the show. It was an absolute pleasure to have you. I will be back with another episode next week. Bye for now. Don't forget to hit those stars and leave a review of the podcast where you listen if you found value in what you heard today. It's a free way you can help the podcast reach more people just like you.